Hi, everyone. Just want to speak a little bit candidly, not reckless and not exactly triggered, but maybe a little triggered. But I'll tell you all about it with a lot more coming right up. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I know it's late, but I just had to come on because what a week it has been. So I just want to start out by giving a warm shout out to Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Chrysler Imperial H, Let the Truth Be Told, Cold War Jesus, Little Miss Goth, and AZ Infidel. Thank you guys so much for all that you do to support this channel. And I will be following up the shout outs and more coming up in the very near future. So not to worry. Shout out to everybody in the stream. So I just want to say this for the record. This is going to be a little bit different, maybe slightly different than what I normally do on this channel. But I want to address something that I don't normally do. I usually wait just a little bit long for the development of some of these things, but this has really been weighing on me just a little bit. And I'm telling you right now, this might come off as a little bit of a rant. I feel it because I've been trying to get into a different place, but it's just it's a touchy subject. So this is going to be, I think this is a perfect storm, and it's going to speak to the Black community, which I happen to be a part of. I am an American, very much American. I'm an American, but I happen to be Black. And whether I have conservative values or whatever, it doesn't mean that I have no concern about things that are going on and the influence of things that are going on culturally. But this is an election cycle, ladies and gentlemen. This is, desperate times call for desperate measures. And this week has been absolutely huge. So shout out to everyone in the stream. Shout out to the TR show. Hi, TR. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been a lifetime. How are you doing? Shout out to Anthony Scioli. Thank you so much. And Luciano. So what I'm going to speak about, I'm going to start off, and I'm sure this might lead to other things, but I'm going to just go ahead and tell you the jewel of this dream. Hi, Philip J. Turner. How's it going? And I just want to start this off. I know I need to catch up. I'm behind the TR show, but thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for all you do, all the support. Thanks so much for all of the followers from Periscope for coming on. And hope you're having a great Friday evening or even a great Saturday morning. But I'm going to tell you what this is about. And I even have a clip for you. This is concerning the situation with, of course, you guys have heard it. It's going to be spun many ways. If you can spin whatever you can spin, web, spin ice cream, spin glass, spin needles, spin threads. You can find a story anywhere. The inside story, the liners, the inside story of how Ice Cube joined forces with Donald Trump. Da, 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 da. But I'm going to speak to you about something very specific. I'm going to provide the clip for you to follow that up. Oh, good. Good to hear, Philip J. Turner. So what I'm going to talk about, I think you might see it in the heading says, who knows, but I know. So what I'm going to speak about is I'm not a fan of Hollyweird is not my thing. I'm not a follower of Hollywood. Um, am I devoid of music or expressive outlets? No, it's just that I don't idolize musicians or actors or actresses. I don't. Um, but in this case, this is a hip hop mogul, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this is about Ice Cube. And I actually saw an interview with him being on Roland Martin. So, of course, because he had what they're referring to as the BCWA, and that is his term that he coined for the black contract, the black contract, the Black America contract. Let me get to the right acronym for you fact checkers out there. If that's your dig, then I'm sure you'll get it there. It's like BCWA, the Black Contract with America, or something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and preface this thing. I'm not a fan. I'm going to tell you the truth. I see a way that hypocrisy rears its head on many issues like this when it comes to, this side is doing this, or this the left side doing this and the right's doing this. I don't approve of. I'm not a fan of what I see going on, because to me it doesn't make one better than the other. So let me just go ahead and try to give you a little bit of landscape here. So of course, because you know Ice Cube went anywhere near the Trump administration. He's faced blast from all walks of life. Okay. Um, and so I'm speaking specifically about this interview with Roland Martin, which I'm not a fan of Roland Martin either. So I'm trying to do this in a tough love kind of a manner, and and just try to stay out, and just try to deal with my just extract with the core here. So first and foremost, I did not hear, from what I have gathered, I haven't heard a verbal partisan endorsement. But what I did hear was that Ice Cube was willing to engage in a dialogue, and he was willing to bring his proposal to the table. Okay, I'm not saying, I'm saying this is what he was willing to do. And according to him, I'm paraphrasing, from what I gather, both parties were able to at least hear his presentation, or he approached both with his ideas. And it looks like the left said, hey, Democrats said, hey, we'll get back to you after the election. Is anybody actually surprised? And on the right, it appears that the response was, let's see what you have. Maybe they have some, maybe they had something in the works already. Maybe it was something they were going to build upon, but they actually gave him some leverage to come in and say, hey, what are your ideas, I guess, on some level. So I think he brought what he had. He brought it to the person, said, hey, let's see what you have. Okay. Because, for those of us, whatever area you're from, Trump did have a bit of a relationship where he was known in the entertainment industry for just about any kind of a loan. I think back in a time where people weren't getting loans, that he was giving people, he was taking the risk. Okay, so I'm not surprised, but let me go on here. I'm not gonna try to circumvent all the deets. I think what I can gather from the deets, or the verbiage, it's a little bit confusing. But I don't want to go into it too much. But I'm just saying, just because he opened a dialogue, he's been on cancellation. Okay, because what is it that the part of these people thrive on? The technocrats, they thrive on humiliation. Okay, so that's what the game is now, is to humiliate. Okay, so with all that, from what I can gather, it looks like Martin was talking to him basically his question for, at the opening of this interview, he starts asking, was was his involvement what they said it was? What did they manipulate? Did they manipulate you into your involvement to appear that it was actually support? And honestly, I actually wanted to shut down at that point. But I said, no, I'm just going to watch. I'm going to watch, because I can't, there's just certain things I don't sit through. I can't sit through. So I just said, let me just watch this and see if I can pick up what he's putting down, at least. Okay. So as time goes on, I think, I really don't think Ice Cube was up for Martin's garbage. And I could see that on his face. He's in a different place about this. And it looks like he's willing to, he's going to take it from wherever it comes, because that's just what he does. So, and then of course, Martin starts talking about, how he met with the White House back in 2018 and trying to throw some cred or ethos to himself. And then eventually Ice Cube says, well, what did you go to the White House for? What were you doing back in 2018? He goes, I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist. So all of a sudden, he's not running his mouth 90 going north. He's not running his mouth like 90 going north as per usual. He's slowed down, because I think he can tell, you could start to tell. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think Ice Cube is going to call Letting It Go in Tokyo any minute now. And I think he understands. I think he understood who he was talking to. This is not going to go like your normal interviews. I could see Martin's demeanor was subdued. It was much more subdued than normal. That arrogance that he does, I didn't see that in this interview. I have a clip for you, so not to worry. But eventually, Ice Cube, when he turned the tables on him, it was like he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. He had to start. He started like, okay, you just told Ice Cube you're a journalist. And what were you doing? Where was your contract? Where were your ideas? Why were you interviewing them? If you know so much about politics, if you know so much about the black male and who they're trying to attract, and I've never seen Martin drop any facts that I didn't have to fact check, but he actually landed a few things. There's one piece. He said that the Republicans back in 2018 were actually trying to appeal to the black man via anti-immigration. And I do remember the conversations were very heavy during the midterms about the illegal immigrants, which it does suppress, and it does alienate those who have less than formal educations. So if you give those jobs, if you are able to siphon off jobs to illegal immigrants, when you have just as many black men out here that don't have jobs, that could use a construction job, and they are healthy enough to work, you're going to alienate those people that need a job for illegal immigrants. So I remember those conversations. And so when Martin was talking about that, okay, yeah, he's right about that. But I also saw him trolling and browbeating people and treating people like they better get back on the plantation. What are you doing over there? So he always has to. I find Roland Martin to be very insecure. He comes off with all this bravado, But at the end of the day, that's not what I see. If you strip all of that away, you got a very insecure guy. And I saw that man. I saw that man when Ice Cube basically said, "Okay, so what are you doing at the White House? You're always talking about what everybody else is doing and their influence, but what do you do when you go to the White House?" So that's when he started scrambling for answers and filibustering his way. You could see him. You could see him sweat. These are things. These are things that I look for. I look for these kinds of things because I look for the bravado to break down, to fold up like a paper bag, because that's all it is. That's all he is. He's a mouth going 90 going north mouth all the time. But he slowed it down. He had to slow it down because I don't think Ice Cube was going to put up with him carrying on and exchanging like he does and bullying and intimidating people like I've seen him do before. Okay. He really didn't know how to handle himself, but I think he figured it out really quickly because of, Ice Cube's tone. I mean, I didn't see Ice Cube drop one smile, not one. Okay. So I'm going to keep going. So like I said, after he turned the tables, he was saying, okay, so he said, what were the Democrats doing to get the black man's vote? And he said, well, I've been trying to figure that out for a long time. Yeah. No, you've been on your bitch baby on your little podcast. That's what you've been. So you got called out. But on top of that, if you just look at the jobs, at the labor, if you want to know what's going on in America, people, look it up. I am so sick of the willful laziness and blindness. If anybody with any sort of a brain can look up the labor stats on the black man, the black woman, and you can find the stats are there, and it's in the streets. Okay, it's right there for you. You've got more black women in the workforce here in America. Don't ask me why, but that's whether they quit looking for work, whether they're not getting paid, whether they're underpaid and they stop looking for work, or they're doing other things to make money. I don't know. I'm just saying that the stats that Martin that he called out were actually, I can support that. Yes, you're right. So if the Republicans were, in fact, if they were trying to appeal to the black man via taxes and then that's the group that needs to make more money. Do people not realize if Black America is truly the lowest common denominator, if we're the bottom feeders, do you not know if they do better, the whole country does better? I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard you're only as good as your weakest link. So if your weakest link is doing better and better and better, then your whole country, your whole economy does better. This is not, you don't need to be Columbo to figure these things out or to find out where they come from, where the stats come from. Do people talk out of their bum? Yeah, they do. But you don't have to. Why talk out of your bum when you don't have to? But people do. So yes, so the stat that he quoted was right. I can support that argument that he made. Yes, they were. But what did the previous group of people do? They're not appealing to the black male. So it makes sense. And when you look at education, you look at degrees, you have more black women with college degrees than you do the black man. Look, this is not a dig on anybody. This is factual information, and it is supported by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. If you want to know, don't cry about it. Go look it up. So, I'm sorry, that was a digression. That was a little bit much. But I think, I mean, and whether I agree with the plan or not, or them, this is my thing. When it comes down to throwing money, blindly throwing money at people, I have an issue with that. You know, in order for this is one thing, this is 1 ounce of credit I'll give to the Dems. If they claim they go faux academic, faux elite when they want to study reparations. They're gonna give you a study before you're gonna approve. We're gonna create a commission to approve a study for your reparations. But then, on the other hand, you've got someone with a business background that's gonna give you the money up front. Will that work for some people? It might. But we're talking about an entire group of people. We're talking about an entire group of people. And I think if you don't know how things are run, if you don't get to the root of a problem, then you're not gonna your money won't be as long. Okay. I'm talking to you guys in a off the cuff or off the rip a little bit tonight. Because of the topic, I gotta handle it like that. Okay. So you can't just blindly throw money at things. You can't. You can, but it'll run out and the problem will still be there. Some people can spend $1 million in 2 or 3 months and they'll be right back on the streets because of their habits, because of their vanity, because of their fake, phony, fraud, living beyond their means habits. You can't break those habits. So you've got to be able to put that on it. You've got to be able to put a skill or something in place that it's going to be perpetual, that it's going to continue to generate, that it's not going to be here today, gone tomorrow. If you give people a lump sum of money, what do you think? It's going to burn. They're going to burn that money. That money's going to burn their pockets. That money, you know, when I was growing up, they used to say that money's just burning your pockets. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that before, but that's a little folksy for you. But superficial, you know, people want attention these days. People value attention and fake and fraud and faux lifestyles more than they do sustainability, than being whole or being complete. And that kind of goes into another topic. I'm going to try not to get into that topic so much. So what I want to do is I want to play this clip for you, and then I'll continue with my little summation there. But yes, so I'm going to play you guys this clip. So hope you guys are doing well out there. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Shout out to DJ Vision Barnett. Shout out to Unique View. Shout out to Philip J. Turner. Shout out to Old Head Deuce. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to take you to the clip right now. Hope you guys are doing well. So now you can see, you're going to get a little bit of this, get a little bit more of this, and then I'll tell you where this was going. You can see where it's going, what I'm about to do, but I'll fill that in. All right, so here we are. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in.
Books their 401ks by using tax policy, and that's what their strategy is.
So what's the Democrat strategy to target black men?
And that's one of the things that I've been challenging them on as well, by saying, when you have a problem, when you see 9 points in 2012 to go to 13 points in 2016, and it might go to 20, you got a problem. So you better focus on that and shore it up, which means you better speak to those issues, speak to those men, having those surrogates doing it, but also speaking to the policies. I've been covering this very issue when it comes to these black men for months. Now, Democrats haven't done it. Now, folks are sort of trying to pay attention now. But I actually was talking to Tom Perez and the DNC about this 4 years ago. So I gotta ask you this shit too, because on that particular point there. So I got an email from someone, and they said, why is Ice Cube only talking about this contract now? So the person wanted me to ask, where was Ice Cube doing the primary? Where is he in 2018? How do you answer people who say that?
I was actually just, being an artist, rapping, thinking all this stuff was covered, thinking people that actually was in power was out doing their job, making sure they had something specifically for black people to win. And when I looked up, I realized all this stuff is not specifically for Black people. It's for minorities. It's for people of color. It's for everybody but us. So, you know, I had to kind of take it upon myself to do something that was strictly for Black people and write something up with some very smart, educated people and come up with a plan. It all happened after George Floyd was killed. So that's where I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have to do it if it was being done.
But
You know,
actually,
where has this contract been? You know, since the 60s, we've had over 7,000 hello?
No, you're on. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Since
you're on.
the 60s, we've had over 7,000 Black people elected in office in high positions throughout this country. Over 7,000, and we haven't moved an inch. So don't ask me where have I been. The question is, where the hell are you at?
Well, here's the deal, though. I want on that particular point. I want to bring.
All right, guys. So as you can see, do you see the scramble there? Like I said, whether I agree with the premise or not, but to me, I could just see that Roland Martin was sweating once he put it back in his court, because I find it interesting that all of a sudden, because Ice Cube decided to step up and say, let me do something here at this time. Let me step up and actually attempt to do something. And all of a sudden, well, where has he been all of the time? Excuse me. Did you not have your first Black president? If you guys are really going with the color code, if that's what this was really about, I didn't hear him say not one time, either one. So how is it if you're going to make Ice Cube the all occasion voodoo doll or the devil, how does he get stuck with all of that responsibility? You know, it's just like all of a sudden he's in the hot seat. He's got to be the Moses, right? You got to be crucified, and you got to be the savior, and you got to be the sacrificial lamb. Come on. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, like, how, to me, that's not even a fair question. Where has he been? He's not a politician. He's not. But I mean, but this is where the hypocrisy is with me. When Trump went into office, he opened the dialogue and the doors up for people to come in. Even criminal justice, you name it. And I think, who was it? Steve Harvey was the only one, but even he was talking out of both sides of his mouth, because he was afraid, I guess, that he was going to get crushed if he came back and if he came back and made it and actually made a difference. So I think Steve Harvey was one of the only ones at the beginning of that administration when he started reaching out to people, and the Black Caucus was in that number as well. So why aren't they? Where's Martin on all of these people in power? Why isn't he talking about anything? These people are. I'm telling you. I'm saying I've said my piece about the premise of this, but I'm saying for you got to have. We've had too many martyrs, and now when somebody tries to step up, you got to be. They want us. You're asking too much, Black community. You want too much. You want a savior. You want a sacrificial lamb. You want a martyr. How much is enough? How much? The world is not enough, because it starts with you. This world is a hot mess, as they say. which is, I'm probably not cool for saying hot mess, but even that's probably antiquated by now. But it's a hot mess right now. We're turning into a secular society, that transform America that they've been talking about since 2008. The government wants to pay you for being dysfunctional, ladies and gentlemen. They want to pay you. Pick your poison. They want to pay you for it. They got to be a part of the destabilization, and they got to destabilize at the same time. They are never without work. And they lead, and these celebrities and these deletes, they lead Black people to the slaughter. And I don't know what it's going to take. If you're not going to, it's not even a wake up. You're lost. You're just lost. You're lost. You're lost on so many levels. You're lost. I'm going to tell you the truth. At this moment, I feel sorry for an Ice Cube. He's a celebrity. He's of an elite order or whatever they call it. I feel sorry because you cannot save people from themselves. We are in a society that they are promoting destruction, and they need influential people to perpetuate the destruction. They are absolutely angry. Most of the time when the Democrats promote somebody, or when they put somebody on the banner, it's always somebody that's either promoted something like drugs or alcohol. They never bring anybody, they never bring the problem solvers to the table. And I have said that before. When you're a problem solver, you have to come. That means your challenge is already given to you. And if your skin color is in that problem, then that's what it is. You've got to work with what you have. You've got to work with the hand you were dealt. But they're not going to bring anybody before you like that. They're not going to bring anybody before you that's going to give it to you straight. I'm not talking bootstraps. I'm not talking the shoe with a hole in it that's talking when you walk. I'm not saying anything specific. Whatever it is, whatever skin you're in, you've got to work with that and have a systematic thought and start problem solving. I mean, and this is where I have an issue. So what? Now, it's like we're in a perpetual cycle right now as a community, because if we're going to have one party that's going to put a price on a startup price on us, then the other part's going to come to the table and put a startup price on us. So what does that put us back? Where are we back now? If we're being made by our government, what are we worth? I don't care who co-signs it. I don't care who co-signs it. I've looked at the plan. I'm not going to say I don't agree with the whole thing, but I'm saying you give, and you'll never take care of it like you would if you earned it. So let me give my final my final summation on this. So this is just, I honestly, I don't really have to hear anything else about either of these plans, not the platinum plan from the right, whatever Biden might come up with. Here's the thing, Biden's already flopping, okay? Because even though I didn't cover the town hall with him, I covered the one on Trump. But Biden actually admitted that his crime bill was a mistake. I'm not sure. I think he's starting to mix up all of the bills that he's ever had anything to do with. But they're going to say anything. And I just think that these are things that you have to get to the core issues. You have to bring people out of, what is it? The Cosby family was the end of the black family. Is that about it? Was that it? I mean, what are you guys watching now? I mean, I don't watch regular TV, but yes, yes, right on, old head. And shout out to you, Philip J. Turner. So, okay, so right where I stopped that is actually where Martin, I think, because I think the kitchen was getting too hot for him, so he's got to bring in a victim. He brings in this woman, his think tank, who's actually like some kind of social justice warrior or whatever. Okay. So basically, that she comes in and starts talking to Ice Cube. It's almost like Martin's trying to pair him up with somebody from BLM. He said, "Well, you can't have a movement without you can't have an agenda without a movement." So basically, Martin's sitting there trying to broker a partnership, and it just doesn't. I'm like, well, does he need your help? He just put you out there and said, "Where have you been all this time?" And so she comes on and talks about her. She comes on and assumes the victimhood card and says, "Oh, my life is being threatened every day, and you can't have an agenda without a movement." And basically saying your movement's nothing if you don't have BLM behind it. That's essentially how that ended. So but I think I'm going to be honest. I was waiting for Ice Cube to say, "Okay, look, I didn't come on here for you to broker me up with anybody." But he did do that in his own way. He did basically say, "Look, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not waiting. You're telling me, this person's telling me that, oh, I've been working and doing this for 20 years and da 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 da." And he's just like, "Look, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not waiting anymore." So yeah, basically, unless you align with the propaganda arms and the communist movements, with the "we shall overcome" of the 21st century, your movement's nothing. Your agenda is nothing. And I think that would be a mistake. I actually would, for him. If this is what you're doing, I think you're better off a one-man show. Because you know what, I don't support BLM by any stretch. So the minute you tack that on, it's going to be shut down. So generally, but I think he held his own very well. And he did say, in fact, yes, this has been out for months, and I'm not waiting for you or your movements. I'm doing what I'm doing. So, and of course they're going to malign him. And then of course, what was it? Katrina Pearson, I believe, she did some kind of a tweet, and of course all the other rats were all over it. But I'm speaking to a much larger issue. Is these issues need a lot of this starts at home. Getting the government out of the community, not hitching them. See, this is where I can see, because I mean, he mentioned the 60s. Ice Cube mentioned the 60s. And I think that was a very pivotal time. And this is that time again. So either you guys are going to hitch us to some more alphabet government programs, which are going to decimate the rest of the Black community, or you're going to get off your butt and start solving your own problems with the hand you were dealt. Because to me, this is how the Black community, I can see very well how the community got hitched to the government and all their euphemisms about and all their alternatives for the Black family and all that stuff. That's how they destroyed it. Well, look at it now. How much more left do you have to destroy? So yeah, so the whole time Martin, but prior to that, it was a bunch of minutia with Martin trying to throw stones at the Republicans' plan, and well, where in here do you see this? And then I'm like, wait a minute, do you write contracts? Are you a business contractor, or are you? I mean, come on, Roland Martin. Oh, I'm a journalist. Oh, are you sweating? I can guarantee he's been in the White House more time. I would imagine he's been in that White House more than Ice Cube has been. But see, this is the BS. This is the BS that I'm talking about. They had 8 years. And what were they doing at the White House? Smoking pot? Kicking back? If you're really looking for solutions or edifications and changes, and if people were really serious about, they weren't. They were basically, to me, you might as well have called the White House a freaking Hugh Hefner's. It was the Playboy Mansion almost. You had a Playboy Mansion, and what did that do? So I'm absolutely sick of the functional illiterates and the people that are in denial. And then you got another group of people that are just incompetent. They're professional victims. They can't imagine their lives without that. So, that's pretty much my my take on that. But I imagine some other things are going to come out about it. But I just, like I said, I don't agree with the blind six throw money at stuff. I don't. Especially if you don't know how it's being managed. If you don't know how the current resources are being managed. If you haven't done any real research on that, and you cannot, and see, this is what I'm talking about. Some people call it pandering. What? Just don't do it. Do it the right way. If you do it the right way, and I'm not saying just do something to say you did something. What is that going to be? What's going to be the result of just doing something to say you did something? And I'm actually just really stunned at the way all these things are playing out, all this race related stuff, the way it's playing out. And there's never any real conversations about people taking responsibility for themselves or the situations that they create for making bad choices. Because if you get millions of dollars, you can still make bad choices. It's not going to change who you are or your values. Maybe you don't have any values. If you're reckless with what you have now, why would you be less reckless with an opportunity? Am I saying you don't deserve an opportunity? No, that's not what I said. I don't like the word deserve. Because I'm not the one who decides what's deserved and what's not deserved. But I'm saying I'm sick of all of the bantering and all of the bickering. And I swear this is the most people, and some people actually think they're paying attention to politics right now. But they have a very abridged version of politics. Not only is it unbalanced, it's not policy. It's not policy based. The history always outlasts This will be forgotten. Why? Because people are fickle. Their memory is fickle. Their values are very fickle. But there's going to be somebody there, but they're going to blame somebody for, they're going to blame somebody for it. So I'm just saying, it's, I mean, and I'm just saying, just even, to Ice Cube, maybe he was made to do this. Maybe he was made to go out and do these things. I don't know. I remember his movies from back in the 90s. Maybe he said, maybe I can stop acting and just start being one of these characters and try to make some kind of a difference. I mean, I find it some of the best actors, best roles are the ones that you play as yourself. So I don't know, maybe you guys got something out of that, but that cycle is going to continue, because now you've got P. Diddy doing the opposite. It's just, this is where the rant of mine comes in, because I find it odd that these people are even getting involved in this. It's like somebody lets them off of a chain long enough to shake things up, and then they just go back into their hellholes for another 4 years. Well, we'll go out and rattle a few chains, and then I'm going to run back into my hellhole, and then nobody will see me again, because I really don't give a damn. Is that their crime? I don't know. Could it be? Yes. But look at it. Look at how many movies are coming out right now. Everybody said, "Oh, so they're gonna get canceled. Canceled? Aren't you canceled already?" It looks like the CV kind of canceled everybody, right? For the first time, more people have been canceled or suppressed than ever. More people from all domains have been suppressed. Everybody's being suppressed right about now. I mean, I think some people troll just for relevance. Oh, I got to go in here and troll, and maybe they're just getting trolled right now. I don't know. I got trolled for my relevancy right now. There's no movies coming out. There's not a lot of money being made in entertainment industry. Let me just go out and troll. Let me just go out and throw a little salt in the mix. So yeah, I had to do P. Diddy because I can't do well, is old head, I hear you. I just think that, there's enough you're not going to get, if you've, I just think that people have missed so many opportunities that you're not going to they don't come around. You don't keep getting opportunities. I mean, if we just look at our individual lives, I mean, I'll say for me for once, or even just people as time goes by. I mean, at some point in your life, you're at you're a child, you have aspirations, you're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you grow up, you still don't know who you are, but then you eventually start to find out who you are, and you're finding out, and you do as much as you can, you reach your prime, you work, you da-da-da-da-da, and then eventually life, circumstances that are beyond your control start to catch up with you. And then whatever opportunities in there that you didn't get in, that's just the way it is. But I certainly don't think that the community needs to be pumped with a bunch of bunch of programs. I mean, I'm telling you, we are watching the rubble. It's coming down. The empire is coming down. And I think the Black community has its own empire. Is an empire within itself. And it's coming down even more. I mean, these celebrities, they're fine. If they don't work another 2-3 years, if they've done anything with their money, they'll still be better off than you. But you have these people just sit around here and just let them tell them, wait on them to tell them how to feel, wait on them to tell them how to think, wait on them to tell them how to look at anything, wait on them to tell them what to wear. Wait on them to tell them what's healthy. So I'm sure I'm going to follow this story, but I'm not sure if I'm going to report on it again. Yeah, Phil. Yeah, this is not that. You can say what you feel on here. This is, I'm say what you feel on here. I'm not going to break. I won't break. Shout out Anthony Shield. This is I hate celebrities. I mean, you say now they're professional agitators. So just go away. Just go away. So yeah, but it's interesting the way that this is being spun. So I even heard the Breakfast Club. Of course, that's not a source that I deal with, but sometimes it's entertaining. It's laughable. Just to break, because of all the crazy makers and the things that are going on right now. Sometimes it's good to laugh. It feels good to laugh at the lunacy. That's what you got to do. Just for sanity, for your mental health break, you got to laugh at some of this stuff. You got to laugh at a lot of it because you can't do a damn thing about it. But when the laughter runs out, you got to face reality. Some people are going to be lost. They're going to be left behind. No matter who wins. So yeah, I didn't mean to be super philosophical or whatever on this, but I was just thinking, I just find that the community is so there. How can you be that needy? I remember when Kanye West got on stage and said, George Bush doesn't care about Black people. Well, how much care do you need? People don't have to care about you. Actually, they don't. They just have to respect you. They should respect you. But you got ideologues that they think that their opinion is exactly what it has to be. But they don't realize it's still just an opinion. I believe is close up to an opinion. And this is what I'm offering right this second. I'm offering an opinion right now too. I implore you, go out and look, fact check anything that I say or that I do. But this isn't over. I'm just saying this is my assertion, and this is what I have deduced from a bunch of fluff. And do I care whether I don't care if I don't care whether Ice Cube endorses Trump or not. He's not going to affect what I do, but for those that he will affect, people have already made up their minds. Let's get real. Can we do that? Can we just get real? Can we pretend to get real for 5 seconds? I mean, they talk, we're talking about this election cycle, but it's already going on in real time. People already voting, have voted. We're dealing with a couple of different modes. Voted. Some people have voted. Some people are voting. Some people are going to vote. We're dealing with 3 modes. So, and that's why I was just saying this was a bizarre week. You had all these bombshells dropping, and they were hitting anybody. I don't know how much more I can take of. Oh, and this week, and this is this, and this is coming, and this is coming. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. So I'm gonna read some comments now. I'm gonna give back to the people. Back to the people. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in. Shout out to DeBar's Secret Recipe and Music. I thank you so much for thumbs up. We're hanging around. I'm hanging around DeBar's Secret Recipe and Music. Philip J. Turner, you should speak. Free speech on here is what we got. I don't care if it's cultural issues, whatever it is. But I'm saying it's very sad if you just look at the year, the year that we've had, the amount of riots, the amount of losses, and you can drop anything into that. A loss is a loss, whether it was life, whether it was somebody's home, their property, their faith, their fortune. I mean, I don't even know what our unemployment rate is, but this has been a huge year. So I'm going to read some comments now. I won't digress again. I'll try not to. Yeah, we've all, on some level, we've all endured a loss, and there's losses to be had. Okay, Philip's comment. Philip J. Turner says, when I won election, I didn't make promises. I just told the voters I would do best I could. I take the first item on the agenda, solve it, and then I go to the next item. I'm not sure my opinion even matters to this topic. It's just fine. You can add your opinion. I mean, I will tell you. I can tell you. I can put it straight up. I happen to be a Black person, and I am absolutely sick of all the garbage. I'm sick of all the rhetoric. I'm sick of all the bickering. Sick of all the propaganda. And I just think that I think people are lost, and I think we need to get back to some level of morality. And the faster the better. Because promises, cash, all of that stuff, swell it up and it'll fly away. So this is not one of those channels where you need to walk around on eggshells or tiptoe around. So I'm going to take it as it comes. So you're good. But so I'm just thinking, this is just, these people in hip hop, they've always had a heavy influence. And, the thing about this is why I talk about idolizing. Do I honestly think any celebrity actually cares about me? No. So am I disappointed when they do something boneheaded or brain dead? No. because I don't put my faith in them. I don't feel a sense of camaraderie because I believe, because I might agree with something, or I don't feel closer to these celebrities just because they may have a good idea or something sounds good, right? Good intentions, right? And I think the good intentions what has been a huge demise in the community. Good intentions. When you do something that's going to cause someone more harm than good in the long run, you're not doing them any favors. You're not doing them any favors. And I would just say, stay away. I say that about progressives. I say that about liberals. I say that to celebrities. Stay away. No pet projects. No. At this time, it's got to be organic. It's got to be organic. It's got to be you've got to have problem solving. You've got to have a systematic thinking. You've got to bring some decency back to the table. The self-destructive culture is what people are thriving on in the meantime. I mean, just think about it. They inserted Cardi B into politics, and some people are going to follow her. Should they do it? But I just think that, I just think that where we are as a society, certain groups of people are going to be attracted by secular values. And when I say secular, I'm talking non-religious values. I don't think that the left has any values. I honestly don't. As Pelosi says, "Oh, we don't share the same values." Well, what values would those be? Identity, politics, people that are dysfunctional, living dysfunctional or having issues. The more unstable, the more stable they are. The more unstable the subjects are, the more stable the corruption is. Shout out to Newman Outdoors. I thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you guys so much for coming in at the 11th hour of the night. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I appreciate everything. So shout out to Old Head Deuce and Philip J. Turner. And yeah, the Unique View, thanks so much. Unique View says Hunter is in trouble. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. DJ Vision Barnett, thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to the TR Show. Shout out to Philip J. Turner. Shout out to Garrett Reed and Anthony Scioli. Luciano, shout out to you. So we're going to wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys so much for taking time with the Channelytics. Hope you guys have a great weekend, that you're rolling into your weekend with a little less chaos than the last one. And let's see, looks like I got a comment here. Good night, Philip. I appreciate you for coming in. You can put your suitcase down here. Nobody's going to tell you to fold it up. All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your weekend. And for those of you in replay, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the followers over on Periscope. Shout out to the loyal subscribers and to the patrons. Shout out to Derek C. Williams, Killer Rail Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Chrysler Imperial H, Let the Truth Be Told, Cold War Jesus, and Little Miss Goth, and AZ Infidel. All right, you guys have a great weekend, and who knows, maybe I'll see you around.